Hello, challengers. We are here again in the weekly live that happens every Tuesday at 10 p.m. London time. Today, we're going to be talking about Code Teach Lead, how knowledge sharing catapults Java careers. So why share your knowledge is important? It's because this is the fastest way for you to build visibility and stand out as a Java developer. Think about it. How many of your friends, how many of your colleagues are able to share their knowledge? Most of them are able to share their knowledge at work, but when they go beyond work and they share their knowledge, maybe in a small conference, or they write an article, or they contribute to open source projects, they are automatically in the top 5% of developers, right? And it's quite rare, those developers who go beyond their jobs. That's why it's a huge opportunity for you to stand out more quickly and to show that you are a highly skilled Java developer, highly skilled software engineer. Okay? So let's explore here some ways where you can share your knowledge. So knowledge sharing as a career multiplier. So why is that? So every time you share your knowledge, you deepen your technical expertise. So it's not only the visibility, but when you share your knowledge, you become a lot better in what you're sharing. So let's suppose you want to learn Spring, or you want to learn more about testing. If you give a talk about this subject, I assure you that you're going to know a lot more about this technology. Why? Because you're sharing your knowledge. You are in public. You do the work to fill out the gaps and explain this concept in a concise way. And for example, it's a great idea as well to mentor junior developers, because junior developers will make you basic questions. And when you explain to them those basic concepts, you internalize those concepts, right? Obviously, nowadays we have AI and we have ask for those basic questions on AI or even on Google. But still, depending on the question a junior developer or a less experienced developer makes to you and you help them, you're going to improve your communication skills. And they're going to also fill out the gaps from your knowledge, right? And when you teach something, it forces you to master fundamentals. For example, if you're explaining about the Java memory model or garbage collection, it's going to be a lot easier for you. And it doesn't need to be only giving a talk. You can write an article, you can create a quick tutorial on YouTube, you can create a mini script and read the script and create a video, for example. And sharing your knowledge also keeps your skills sharp, and it helps you to keep up to date with the latest Java releases. Like you can, for example, learn more about records or sealed classes, virtual threads. So giving talks is an excellent way to grow fast in your career. And when you give a talk, when you share your knowledge, you become the go-to expert, right? And you can share your knowledge about Spring Boot, Quark, Micronaut, whatever you feel more comfortable with. And when you share your knowledge, you also establish thought leadership through deep dives. So for example, you could go deep into how JIT compilation works in Hotspot, and you will be also recognized from peers and leaders. So promotion is a lot easier when you show your work, when you share your knowledge, because then it shows that you have confidence in your skills. And at the moment that you give a talk, people will see you as an expert. And the thing is that you don't even need to be an expert. If you have the courage to give a talk about a subject, you're going to be seen as one. And that's the important thing. And it will also expand your influence and network. So you're going to have more internal impact, driving best practices. Like you could give a talk about clean code or modular design, because the more you make the code maintainable, the more productive you make your team, right? And you can also get external visibility. You can speak at conferences, you can contribute to open source. And the more you do that, the stronger you get your LinkedIn profile, your Twitter or X presence. And also you can engage with Java champions such as Byron Goetz or Subramanian, right? Or you can engage with me as well. So that will help you to get visibility more quickly. Because obviously, if you engage with Java champions, they will help you. And if you show Java champions that you are committed, that you are doing the work, that you are writing articles, you're sharing your knowledge, that's great. And the good thing about sharing your knowledge is that you don't need to be an expert. You can simply document your learning. And this I highly recommend to all of my mentees. I recommend it to you that when you're learning something, document your learning process. Why? Because it's going to help you to fill out the gaps of your knowledge. You can share this and create value with other developers, and you're going to create a super powerful CV, right? Because you're going to be creating visibility. You're going to prove that you know your stuff. So it's a great idea to document your learning. And nowadays it's easier than ever because you can share your knowledge on LinkedIn. You can write an article on LinkedIn. So what are the ways to share your knowledge then? What are the ways to share your knowledge? So you can do hands-on contribution through code. So for example, you can contribute to open source projects. And this is an amazing way to get visibility more quickly because then you show that you're really a software engineer, a problem solver. And that's what the companies want. They want someone, a developer, who is able to get a project, read the code, understand what's going on, be able to solve problems, be able to produce, to be productive, right? That's what they want. And if you're able to contribute with famous open source projects, that gives you so much power, right? It gives you so much visibility on your CV. And instead of competing with the majority of developers, you are competing in another level, right? So open source contributions is extremely powerful. So could, for example, fix bugs in Apache Commons, Hibernate, or Spring, create utility libraries for Kotlin, Java. You could create helpers. You could do code reviews as well, explaining some design patterns. You could also write an article, for example, about performance, the N+1 problem, caching strategies, or you could even create internal tech demos. And you could create on your YouTube channel, or you could also create those demos in your job. You could do also a brown bag session. It could be in your job, like during lunchtime, you can do a presentation to everyone. And when you exercise this skill of giving a talk, you have exponential growth because you gain so much visibility. You face yourself, you face your insecurities. I know it's hard to get started, but it's worth it. Teach formal and informal learning. So what can you do then? You can write blogs. Actually, I recommend the most if you're starting to start with a blog, right? With an article, because this the easiest, like the barrier to get started is the easiest, right? Because basically you can simply go to LinkedIn and write your blog, write your article. You could create an article about virtual threads or how to build high performance software, or you could create a workshop and a webinar, and you could create even on your YouTube channel, right? And like you can promote with the Java community, you can promote in a user group, you can do some things, right? And even if it's only you talking, it's okay, you are practicing. And here you could also, give a workshop or a webinar about Java concurrency in a local meetup. This is another thing that I recommend you, and it is to join a Java user group. So join a Java user group because that will make you more visible and help them with as much as you can. Like, for example, things that are very useful for Java user group leaders is to find speakers, is maybe to maintain their website, or maybe help organize things, like help feed people, like help them organizing the chairs, like those things could help JUG leaders. And another way to help JUG leaders is to offer a talk to them. You can also give a talk to them. And you can also mentor junior developers. That's a great way for you to help someone grow faster in their careers. And it will also help you to be better at communication. It will also help you to debug complex issues together, identify memory leaks, or thread contention. So mentorship and pair programming is another powerful technique. Lead strategic influence. So tech evangelism. So obviously in the beginning, it's hard to give talk on those big conferences, but you can start giving a talk to one friend, or you can start giving a talk in your job about something useful that will solve a problem. And then you can give a talk in a Java user group, can give a lightning talk of 5 minutes until you build up your confidence. And, you can write articles about architecture as well, CQRS, and you can start an internal leadership as well. And for example, you can create a document to standardize best practices in your project, and you can drive tech radar adoption in your company as well. So basically, you can be someone with the technical ideas. And regarding architecture and decision making, document key choices. So for example, why we choosing Quarkus over Spring Boot. So write the pros and cons, be ready to have a technical discussion, and do your job researching both frameworks and explain why those would be more suitable for the problems you have with the project you're working for. Influence scalability decisions, vertical or horizontal scaling. Okay, and what are the career benefits of sharing your knowledge? But the thing is that when you share your knowledge, you get promoted more quickly. You go from senior to principal or architect more quickly because you prove you are able to lead, right? You prove that you go beyond code. And it's also easier to become a manager or a CTO, right? Because when you give a talk, you also demonstrate strategic thinking. Obviously, when you share your knowledge, and I'm saying here give a talk, but let's think about any way you can share your knowledge. Doesn't need to be necessarily giving a talk. You can also write articles or create videos. So when you share your knowledge, you get higher compensation and opportunities. So for example, if you want to be a consultant and if you want to work as a freelancer, you will command premium rates, right? You're gonna have higher rates and you have more visibility for remote global roles. So you get more visibility for the big fund companies and the fund recruiters. So this is great. And stronger professional network. So for example, if you contribute to Jakarta E, you're going to meet many Java champions and you're going to also get invitations to private programs like early access to JDK updates. And you also get job security and demand. So basically the companies will retain top mentors, right? Why? Because if you are a developer who is constantly multiplying your knowledge, that's highly valuable because the knowledge is not only new, but you can help others to grow faster. So that's a very important skill, very valuable skill. And teaching and leadership, those are difficult to automate with AI. So when you give a talk, when you share your knowledge, you go beyond AI as well because AI won't be as thick as you can be. And overcoming common barriers, obviously, like to give a talk, it's hard, right? So this is something I get a lot from developers. I'm not an expert yet. So I get a lot of this from developers. I'm not an expert, but you don't need to be the best in the world. And actually, no speaker is the best in the world. They actually choose a niche, a focus, and they can teach someone, right? They can teach someone who is a little bit behind them, right? In something. And when you're a speaker, doesn't mean that you're better in everything. Like if you're focused in one thing, it's very likely that you're going to be better on your focus than the vast majority of the audience. But even if you don't have a focus, it's totally fine because think about it. If you are a junior developer, even if you're a junior developer, you can teach someone who is in the college. If you are a mid-level developer, you can teach junior developers. If you're a senior software developer, you can teach intermediate, junior, and even like senior developers, depending on what's the topic you're talking about. So I know this is a big barrier and we usually think that we need to be an expert, we need to be the best in the world, but that's not the truth. If you talk to any speaker, they will say, hey, you don't need to be an expert to give a talk. We just need to, choose a subject to like research it as much as possible. Make sure you're comfortable with the subject and that's it. But the thing to start giving talks, just start small, right? Because if you start big, it's too overwhelming. Like how can you start giving talks in a big conference such as DevOps or Java One? It's very hard, right? But you can start small. You can start hosting lunch and learns, for example, or doing a brown bag session in your job. And this is actually a great idea. And I highly encourage you guys to do that. Learn in public. Document your learning. This is extremely powerful because it will be consolidating your knowledge. And on top of, you're going to be creating your presence. You're going to be getting visibility. And you can do that very easily nowadays on LinkedIn. So like everything you learn during the week, document everything. Like for example, if you're learning Spring, document there what you've done with Spring. What were the challenges you faced? Document if you're learning algorithms, document the new data structures you learned or document the new algorithm you solved. So by doing that, you're going to be growing faster and you're going to be also creating visibility. Imagine one article a week. That's not that hard to do, right? That will make a big difference. One article a week during the year, it's going to be something around 56 articles. And that will give you a huge boost in your career. And the other trap many developers have is that they have no time to share their knowledge. And really, we all have the same time, right? We have 24 hours. But the thing is that what we give priority to. So if we give priority to our careers, I pretty much that you can reserve 25 minutes a day to write your article. Right? I'm pretty sure that, 5 Pomodoros. If you don't know what's Pomodoro, it's a timer, right? It's a 25 minutes timer. 5 Pomodoro, you are able to write your article, right? Usually, depending on the complexity, of course. But it doesn't need to be very complex. Just get started. Remember, done is better than perfect. If you try to make it perfect, that's another enemy of procrastination. Just ship it every week. Well, obviously, I'm give you an idea. So it might not be a reality that you have time to deliver one article a week. So you have to decide how often is good for you. Is it once a week, bi-weekly, monthly? You have to decide what works best for you, obviously. And, integrate teaching into work. Turn pull request reviews into mini lessons. That's a good idea. So if you are reviewing some code, so why not creating an article or tutorial about what code improvements could be done in this pull request? And also leverage existing docs. So for example, in your work, one way to automate things is to create documentation, right? So that other people can use your documents and then they will know what to do. Fear of mistakes. Yeah, so it's important to have the growth mindset. What is a growth mindset? It's the mindset where you know you can grow in any skill. So I know that we have this fear of mistakes and we are usually programmed like that in our schools because if we make a mistake in school, we are seen as the stupid person, right? So that's why we are very mistake averse, but that's a big mistake, right? To be mistake averse is a big mistake because we need to be ready to make a mistake to grow faster. Doesn't mean we're going to do everything like in any way we want. Let's make lots of mistakes. That's not what I mean. So what I mean is that you need to do your best always, but always if you make a mistake, it's okay. Just accept it and move on. Because, even senior developers learn from feedback and we're going to be always learning. Like it doesn't matter our position. Like even the CEO, like even the richest person in the world, everyone need feedback. Everyone will learn from feedback, for example. And use peer review. Have a colleague to see your talk because you don't need to start in a conference. You don't need to start in doing a live. You can start with a friend, really. You can volunteer, like you can say, hey, junior developer, I will help you to learn the technology. Do you want to participate in my talk? And then you give a talk to only one person just to get started, just to build some confidence. Okay, so so those are the main barriers. Fear of mistakes, no time to share knowledge, I'm not an expert. What are the tools and platforms for maximum impact? So for writing, I recommend LinkedIn. LinkedIn is excellent. Dev.to is also very good because it doesn't have any barrier, right? The most important thing is that you start creating content without any barrier. So after you have many articles, then it's useful to have your own server and then you can post your articles in your own server. On WordPress as well, WordPress is excellent, but really in the beginning, it doesn't really matter. You can start easy on LinkedIn or Dev because once you have your articles ready, if you have your own platform later, you can just copy and paste your articles. It's fine. So you could write about performance of Java, for example, or algorithms or Spring, whatever you are learning. Like I said, you can start by documenting your learning. And you can also speak on YouTube. Could be something about reactive Java in production, right? Networking, highly recommend you to network with Java experts or Java champions. Java is a groups. You can also engage with @Java on X. And for internal sharing, you can write documentation for your colleagues at work. If you use Notion, just use Notion and basically share important processes to help other developers. Another powerful way to share knowledge is through open source. And we briefly discussed about that, but open source is great because it will help you to gain visibility and it will also help you on your coding skills. Well, any of those actually will help you on your coding skills. So ideally, you choose one and you go for it because all of them, it's actually a lot of work. The easiest, in my opinion, to get started and to not to give you a lot of pressure is to start just writing articles, document your learning journey, and that's it for now. If you want, you can also get started on open source just to see how it goes because, like the more you do those things, the better for your visibility and the better to get experience more quickly. So, and here I got some projects you can get started with. So let's start on the beginner level. Let me close those ones for now. So the beginner friendly open source projects are the following: Apache Commons. So Apache Commons is a library where you have some YouTube methods for the core Java collections or IO math. You also have Guava, Google core libraries. So this library is good because it has clean and well-documented code. There is also JUnit 5 to improve testing tools. It's beginner friendly. It's a good one to get started. Maven plugins, so you can help improve build tools. Refactoring kata, practice refactoring legacy code, and that's a good option as well. And a tip to get started is to look for issues tagged as good first issue or help wanted. So if you do any of those, it's going to help you to make those contributions more easily. And for intermediate level, so we have Spring Boot. So Spring Boot is the most popular Java framework. It's for learning enterprise patterns like dependency injection, auto configuration. So Spring Boot is a great one to have on your CV. It's a cloud-native Java framework. It also helps you to learn GraalVM, reactive programming, microservices, and Kubernetes. Hibernate ORM is going to help you to deep dive into database interactions. Good for backend developers, JPA, SQL performance. Micronaut is a good alternative to Spring Elasticsearch to work with search and big data. And how can you contribute to those projects? You can focus on documents improvements, bug fixes, or small feature additions. So start the easiest. Like I would recommend you to start on documentation, right? Because in the beginning, it's very difficult to do a request with an important feature if no one knows you. Take some time until you get trust from people so that you can create a pull request with something more important, with a feature that is bigger. And regarding advanced, you can contribute to, which is basically to contribute with Java itself. So we can start with small bug fixes, JVM, garbage collection, and language features. And NetE, high performance networking using Kafka, gRPC, and async IO. Could be Apache Kafka, which is a distributed streaming. This is actually great for big data engineers. GraalVM, which is it's a native Java compilation tool. It's the future of Java performance as well. Jakarta EE, which is the evolution of Java EE, and you can contribute to this framework as well. And the tip is to join Slack groups of those communities and discuss ideas before coding. So don't just create a pull request randomly there. First talk with the community, understand what's going on, and then you make your contribution. Special interest, niche but rewarding. So you could contribute with Minecraft, and in this one, you would be learning game development with Java. And, it's a great way to learn about gaming programming. JHipster, it's a full stack app generator, and it uses Spring, Angular, and React. Buckaroo, it's a package manager for the JVM. There is also JDX, which is a reverse engineer Android apps, which you can reverse engineer Android apps. There is also Selenium that, it's an end-to-end test tool. You can also contribute with all of those tools. So yeah, there is a lot. So how to get started? Pick a project that you like, set up Git, and you can find a starter issue. You can look for good first issue, discuss first, comment on the issue before, submit a PR, and follow their guidelines, right? So all of those techniques, they are very powerful because it's going to help you to stand out for company interviews. It's going to help you to solidify your knowledge, and it's going to help you to be a lot more visible, right? And I remember the first time I wrote an article on LinkedIn, lots of recruiters started talking with me, and that was very important to get a job abroad. This helped me a lot. So why not you doing the same, right? Choose something you're passionate about, get started on writing articles, because that will help you stand out, that will help you to be a better software engineer, okay? So yeah, that's great, guys. I really like to see you engaging, you asking questions. That's the way to grow, right? It's asking questions, being committed. That's all I want from you. So congratulations on being here, focusing on your career. And we're going to have another session next Tuesday at 10 p.m. London time. And I hope to see you here again. And that's pretty much it, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much. Cheers. Thanks, Major. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Good night.